Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are likened to a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the supreme nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 5, verse 19. Here itself is rebirth conquered by them whose minds are established on sameness. Since Brahman is the same and free from defects, therefore they are established in Brahman. Yaiva tairjita sargo yesham samye stitam manaha nirdosham misamam brahma tasmad brahmanite stitaha. This was one of the favorite verses of Swami Vivekananda. And yes, this is true equality. In the previous verse, we had seen the person who is enlightened sees no difference in the person who is learned, who is endowed with, you can say, humility. A horse, an elephant, a cow, a dog, and an eater of a dog also. He sees that sameness there. And here, the idea is expanded. Here itself, here, while still living, this is a state of free while living, Jivan Mukti, is rebirth conquered by them. Since it is speaking of persons who have realized that oneness, Sarga is something that is created. In fact, this person is kind of a conqueror of creation. Tair jita. So, iha eva, here itself, while still living, tair by them, jita is conquered, sarga is creation. Creation is conquered by them. If you look at the translation, here itself is rebirth conquered. Rebirth is, in a way, the idea is still limited. But when you talk about the whole of creation being conquered, how do you conquer it? People have been running about conquering this and that and conquering this land, and those conquerors have come and gone. Millions have come and millions have gone. Conquerors, great conquerors. They have, as I say, bitten the dust. Who really conquers? Now we are conquering space, and we are trying to conquer time, and we are conquering this and that. We are trying to conquer the forces of nature. But the more we try to conquer, the more we feel the forces of nature, the reality of nature is much vaster than we ever imagined. We thought this world is a small mud puddle. People have been kind of thinking, oh, this world, it's a small thing. I can do everything what I want. The world is very large, extremely, extremely large. So we are here on this earth, which is kind of insignificant planet somewhere in the Milky Way. Oh no. In fact, the whole of this, you can say, Milky Way is essential for this planet. We have been thinking that we are unique, we are this, and rest is dead stars and this and that. Nothing is dead. Because of them, we are here. So, who can conquer everyone, everything in creation, not only rebirth? Those whose minds are established in sameness, in equality. And this is one of the, you can say, lessons that we also need to imbibe. People have been trying to study the mind and taking the mind to be the reality. And Indian philosophy has gone right beyond the mind. But can we exist? That is actually existence. The existence that we experience through the mind and of the mind is not existence at all. Because one is full of faults, is full of differentiation, it comes and goes, and it gives pain. So the creation of the mind is as they say, in the highest standpoint of Vedanta, it is an illusion. And we have been trying to create these things and work our way through this creation. So, what is this established in sameness? This established in sameness is established in truth, in equality. What is that truth which transcends creation? And what is that? That is pure consciousness. That is the reality, that is Brahman. And this is also a lesson for all of us. We are now striving for equality and equity, and this is what is being trumpeted all over the place, here. While dismissing the very fabric of differentiation. There is equality, there is equity, there is sameness, but in the reality. And that reality pervades everything. So it is a deeper view of human beings, of creation of the mind and whatever. There is an equality, and that has to be experienced. Swami Vivekananda says, unity in variety is the plan of creation. And this is what it is, unity in variety. What's a unity? Everything has substance, it has qualities, it has, you can say, karma. As the philosophers of Nyaya, the logicians say, guna and dravya and karma and all these things. Everything is these qualities, this karma and substance is inherent in everything. Everything, whatever you see, there is an inherent quality. In time, in space, in matter, in minds, in everything there is a quality. There is a guna, there is a karma, and wherever there is a quality, there is an impulsion, work. And then there's a reaction. So the very heart of this universe is differentiation. Guna, karma, and you can say dravya. What is beyond all this thing? This is what is called Brahman. That is the sameness. That is what we have to actualize. And it will not be actualized through social philosophy. Social philosophies are coming and going. So what? Seeing everybody as essentially that reality and not seeing the differences. Differences are on the surface. And this was how Indian, society was molded upon. In the ancient Indian society, this was the equality. And we had to strive to that equality through all these differentiations. And every class and every person had a set of duties that person had to follow in order to attain this sameness. People have misunderstood the whole fabric of the Indian scheme of, you can say, social life. And they are blaming us, they are all different, they have made things different for different people. No, it's not like that. The goal was this sameness. And that's why the person who attains that sameness, that person has conquered rebirth, has conquered creation. And why is it sameness? Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. Brahman is without faults. What are the faults? You're saying, oh, Brahman is faultless and matchless, and suddenly you're saying, yeah, there's all the faults, all the defects are in limitations. Everything that is limited, everything that has origin and dissolution has got faults. And faults are plenty. You keep a nice thing for some time, and after some time you will see it has become rancid and rotten. This is life. So is Brahman responsible for this? No, Brahman is not responsible. Brahman is without faults. That's why it's speaking of its matchless, peerless character. Nirdosham, he verily samam Brahma. Brahman is the same, is equal. And tasmat, therefore, Brahmani te stithaha. That is why they are established in Brahman. What is realization of Brahman? The realization of sameness. One who sees everything as it says, Suni chaiva swapakecha pandita samadarshina. That vidya vinaya sampande, that Brahmin with learning and humility, and then in the cow and in the dog and everything, that person sees that sameness. That is, we look at persons and we interact with people, but on a very superficial level. And that is the problem with us. Why there are so many problems in life? Because we are very superficial. Our actions are superficial, our thoughts are superficial. The moment you go down deep inside, you will find, oh, people are essentially the same. The same problems they have there and the same problems they have here. People used to say, how do you like this place? It's a cultural, you can say, conflict and cultural shock. I came and said, no, people are the same. Essentially the same. Look just below the surface and you see there's stupidity here, there's stupidity here, there's stupidity there, there's the intelligence there, intelligence everywhere. It's the same. People are struggling in their lives everywhere. So as you go down deeper and deeper and deeper, you will come down to that consciousness which is enlivening everything. And you go to deeper inside, then you see all the light. That light is one. And today it's Hanukkah. You light the light. It's a dedication. That is happiness. It's a happy Hanukkah. Why is that? It's a kind of a dedication. Dedication. Yeah, the Solomon's temple was rededicated. And we have to rededicate ourselves to that light. That light which is there, which is there illuminating everything. We don't see the light, we see the darkness. And you see, Mother also says, the last message was, don't find faults with others. No one is a stranger, my child. So you know what? She is speaking about this. The highest, you can say, truths of Vedanta. In her mother's in simple, you can say, homely style. Yes. Don't see faults. And the human mind sees faults. And everything we see, we judge. It's good, bad, right, wrong. And fresh, stale, this. We are constantly looking at and judging things through its qualities. Yeah, that was yesterday. This today is something else. Everything is constantly conscious. Our brain is kind of full of these judgments. But as we keep on going deeper and deeper and deeper inside, what do you find? You find that essential unity. And this person who understands this essential unity, intuits it, has conquered rebirth, has conquered the whole of creation. Sarga is creation. What is conquest? You don't need all the swords and, Today's world we have these, what do you have? The video games. And everybody is right down, sitting in their comfortable small world and trying to conquer the world. Playing and merrily playing and thinking they are doing the conquest. And they're getting some points. We are actually in a big way. That's a thumbnail view. In a big way, we are trying to do that. But then in the real world, apart from your computer world, in the real world, we see, oh my God, I am constantly being pushed and trampled over and pulled and shredded and berated and scolded and made to feel weak constantly. What kind of conquest is this? And then I try to hide myself in that world of imagination, that conquest. So there I can do some conquest. Here I cannot do. This world is, like I said, not a small mud puddle. It's a huge world. It's not going to listen to people like you and me, who are going to conquer the world. Greater people have come. Genghis Khan has come, and Alexander the Great had come, and all these great empires, they came and they conquered. They're saying the tramp of the Roman legions, cohorts, would make the earth tremble. People used to get frightened. Here they come. Where are they now? That is what we have not understood, this lesson, that you cannot conquer relativity. You can give up relativity and attain to that absolute, that sameness. And this spiritual conquest is the greatest conquest, is the real conquest. You conquer yourself. All these great conquerors, they lived like heroes but died like dogs towards the end. There are some who stoically accepted that pain, but mainly they worry what will going to happen now. After all this trouble that he had taken, now what's going to happen? And everything gets disintegrated. So the real conquest is a conquest of, you can say, relative existence. Sarga, your body and your mind and your senses and your ego. When you conquer that, you have conquered the whole of creation. So here itself is rebirth conquered by them whose minds are established on sameness. This is what. Since Brahman is the same and free from defects, nirdosham, therefore they are established in Brahman. Tasmad Brahmani te sthita. They are established in Brahman. Brahman is the same. And like Swamiji, when he's saying it was his favorite verse, it means Swamiji was established in that. Last time I mentioned Swamiji saying, I believe in samadarshitva. I believe in same-sightedness. People are criticizing me. You don't know organizational faculty. You don't have an organization faculty and this and that and all. Swamiji also has criticized that you can't judge people's character. You're giving things to people you don't even, that they become detractors. He's saying, no, don't worry about that. Saying, I can see the person's past and the future lives all together. Swamiji was Swamiji. Some authors have made him like a kind of an ordinary person. He wasn't an ordinary person. So he's saying, I can see the whole past and the future of a person. Don't obstruct me. Don't tell me what to do. And not only that, Swamiji's realization was much deeper. Deeper is this. And that's why he used to quote this verse from the Gita. Yaiva tayarjita sargo yesham samye sthitam manaha. So this mind, which, always sees differences. Differentiation is, in this universe, is made by the mind. And all this differentiation that we see externally is made by that cosmic mind. And the internal differentiation made by our individual minds. So differentiation is made by minds. And how can this mind See sameness. That is, the mind in its ordinary sense of mind has been transcended. It has become purified. The ordinary mind cannot attain to that sameness. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example, if a sword, is touched by a philosopher's stone, it turns into gold. So that same iron sword has become now, steel sword has become sword of, it cannot cut anything. So this mind, which has become transformed, can attain this idea of sameness, the experience of sameness. Totapuri was Sri Ramakrishna's Vedanta guru. He had a brass water pot and he used to polish it every day, and it used to, it's a burnished golden color, brass, And then, so he's saying, Sri Ramakrishna, why do you have to polish it every day? Oh, you have to polish it. It's like the mind, every day you have to meditate. Otherwise, your mind will attract all this dirt. Meditation is the process of cleaning that brass pot so it shines. That is a perfect example of, you can say, Totapuri was Totapuri, he was the knower of Brahman. So even he used to sit down and meditate. Of course, he had that past impulsion of all these years and decades of practicing meditation. And after attaining that knowledge, what do? You keep on. Once Shankaracharya was there in Sringeri, Chandrasekharananda Bharati. So he was. So somebody asked him, why do you, whole day you're doing this puja and that puja, and what do you do? Why you have to give? You're an Advaitin. So he's saying, what should I do? He's asking that one. What should I do? You are seeing I am doing all this puja and all. All these things are meant for you all, not for me. Yeah. And he was the knower of Brahman. So he was establishing him. Since he had been doing this from a child, and what do? Yeah, you can do something like, we had great souls like, Trailinga Swami in Benares, Holy Mother, Sri Ramakrishna, even all these direct disciples they met. He used to do nothing. Nothing he used to do. He used to lie down there on the steps of Benares, those ghats, or on that hot baking sands, and not feel anything. So he was like that. Don't do anything. But these modern Brahmagyanis, they will work, and that is what we will say. They will work according to what they were used to. The wheel has been set in motion. It will keep on moving slowly over and over till it falls down. That person has stopped identifying himself or herself with that wheel. So we see external actions and we think that this person is like us, but that person's mind has been transformed. Like Totapuri is like polishing his brass pot every day. That is, you do meditation, this and that. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, now, if the brass pot has been turned into gold, then there it is. So, what happens is, the mind the ordinary mind, which constantly collects, all the dirt and dust and the trash and garbage of the world, and we kind of keep them and sort it out. Sometimes we don't sort it out, we just keep them, make on a pile and pile and pile. You see things around here? It's like that. Things come in a pile. Keep it. And so we have to throw it out through meditation. Now this mind, when it is become transformed into the mind of gold, as they say, it no longer is going to collect trash. Simple as that. A dirty mind attracts trash. A pure mind repels trash. And this is the transformation. This mind is not an ordinary mind. This mind is that mind that has become transformed. How? By understanding that behind the mind is that pure consciousness. That I identify myself now with the pure consciousness, not with the mind. The mind has, you can say, sense of identity, it has memory, it has deliberation. I don't identify anything in me. When I identify myself with that pure consciousness, I see that same pure consciousness everywhere. That is being established in Brahman. That is the conquest of duality. This is the conquest of creation. The next verse is Na prarishyet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhirasam moodo brahmavid brahmani sthitaha. Another one. A knower of Brahman who is established in Brahman should have one's intellect steady and should not be deluded. One should not get delighted by getting what is desirable, nor become dejected by attaining what is undesirable. So we have this likes and dislikes. And it's not only in human being, we go towards things which are nice, which are good, obviously, which gives us a little pleasure. That going towards happiness or pleasure and avoiding pain is not only in human beings, but it is in all creation, everywhere. And Shankaracharya, in his great introduction to the Brahma Sutra, he makes it very clear. It's like there's no difference between even a person who is repelled by loud, uproarious, ugly-looking people with upraised swords. That's repulsive. And that person is attracted towards nice people who are learned and, decent. The same thing with a cow. A cow also will run away from people who are trying to beat her. And it will go towards a person who is trying to, has brought some nice tender grass. So the avoidance of pain and the seeking of happiness or pleasure is inherent, it is organic, it is there in the body, mind, and in creation. So this person, a knower of Brahman, who is established in Brahman, should have his intelligence steady. This is what. So he is not kind of buffeted by this likes and this rewards and punishments. You have this. And carrot and stick. So you do this and you will get this reward. So if I do something good, I'll get a reward. So, but I want a bigger reward. So this idea of heaven also is an extension of this idea of reward. The idea of hell also is nothing but an idea of a kind of an detestable place. So they got caught up, all dualistic philosophies got caught up in this reward and punishment business. Why? Because it is ingrained in people. I want to avoid pain. Who wants to go to hell? We say go to hell. No, I don't want to go to hell. You go to hell.
Some people say they'd rather go to hell because there's better company.
Oh yeah, they're in the crowd. Same, they say birds of a feather flock together. So they find company in that. They're birds of a feather. So the idea of reward and punishment is there all over in theology, everywhere. Ask the theology to give up this, is just impossible. Reward, punishment, likes, dislike, good, bad. And this dual throng that is kind of constantly hitting us. This is what is called prayas and shreyas in the Upanishads. I mean, short-term gains, short-term, and long-term gains. So what do you do for short-term gains? You become very agitated, you become kind of restless, and you grab things. Long-term gains is you hold yourself back. Delayed gratification. And that's what the whole process is. Wait. Wait for something good to emerge. Don't jump. So because the mind has become conditioned, not only in this birth, it's been for many, Vahunam Janmanam, and at the end of many births, it's there. It is the nature of the mind and the body. To come out of this is, you can say, Swami Vivekananda says, needs super divine strength. And this is possible only through knowledge. Through knowledge, this person who is established in Brahman, a person's intellect becomes steady. It is not whipped by short-term gains. It is not buffeted by, you can say, likes and dislikes. It is still, it is steady. It's like the lamp in a windless place. It doesn't flicker. So that intellect is steady. When is that? You see, what happens is, when you see this whole universe as a passing show, when you start getting mature, you've seen it all. You don't need to. There was a time when you were running after $1, a big thing. That was when you were a baby. Now that $1 does not make any sense to you. Okay. Now you want maybe 10 million. The $1. What is the $1? You have matured. What is this kind of? As you keep on maturing, the steady intellect means a mature intellect. You can see through things now. You're not going to get sidetracked, you're not going to get deluded. Somebody comes and says nice things about you, and you're so pleased. You don't even get sleep because you're so happy. You're full of bliss. And after a couple of days, that same person will criticize you, and again you will not have sleep. Why? Because all that agitation is not letting you sleep. So this is what it is. Once you become mature, people talk. People talk. Let them talk. So why should I get upset about people's talking? The world is, hypercritical, and sometimes, they praise you, but behind that praise also there's some kind of motive. So be careful of that. Once the intellect sees through the illusion of things, it's going to remain steady. It's going to remain equanimous. It is going to attain that equality. This is very important. We simply, most of our times, our work and our thoughts are reactive in nature. The world acts upon us and we react. It's very, very difficult to stop this process. The moment you understand the whole dynamics of this world, then you stay away from this action and reaction. That will keep you away from this play of Maya. This world impinges on my mind through my senses, and my mind reacts. And my body reacts, and everything reacts. So I am more on the reaction level. It's very, very difficult, and very few of them can act on the world. Though we are trying to act on the world through our reactions, we are trying to make this and that and this and that. Swami Vivekananda says 90% of our minds, our energies, are simply spent in trying to make this world. There it is. So we have been reacting on other people and other people are reacting on us. The world, of course. So Swami is 90%, more than 90%. I think it's 90th. Yeah, something like that. So most of our energy, where do you have the energy now to think about God? No, now there's time to play cards, like Sri Ramakrishna says. I've got some time, let's play cards. The fellow, old fellow, he's got time, now he's playing cards. So as you come out of this chain of action and reaction and reaction and actions, you can see through things. This is the intellect that has become steady. It will not get, you can say, elated on getting something which is desirable. Now it will become depressed on getting something which is undesirable, dejected. So a knower of Brahman who is established in Brahman should have the intellect steady and should not be deluded. One should not get delighted by getting what is desirable, nor become dejected by getting what is undesirable. So these two things, desirable and undesirable. But as Vedantins, we like to kind of make everything as one, Why two things? The explanation is, you get something which is desirable, and after that, some time, it will become undesirable. As the Bhagavad Gita later on will say, Yat tadagre vishameva pariname mritopamam. That first is like poison, but then slowly that becomes like nectar. Spiritual disciplines are like that. The seeking God realization and all these things, seeking is that. First, very painful. Get up and do your meditation and japa and this and that, and you wonder, oh, it's like drinking poison. Why did I decide to? All this rubbish. I could have slept my morning and evening out. Why? First it is kind of struggle and pain, and then that turns into nectar. And the opposite is that which is like nectar. First thing comes like nectar. And then that becomes transformed into poison. So the same thing, when it comes at one point of time, is desirable. And that thing then becomes undesirable. So this world, it's a very funny world. Time and place and circumstances changes the best of things into worst of things. One man's food is another man's poison. That also is there. So somebody is elated with cookies. Somebody says, that's too much sugar. There you are. So as you come out of this action and reaction, this desirable, undesirable, your intellect becomes steady. You can see through things. And as that intellect becomes steady, then it starts identifying itself with its life. The intellect itself is enlivened by that consciousness which is suffusing that intellect. So that person, it's like Sri Ramakrishna says, these swans, the Hamsa, Paramhamsas, these swans, they have some kind of acidic, you can say, saliva, which can separate the water from the milk. So you can separate the illusion from the reality. Both are mixed inside. And this illusion and reality which is finely blended, you cannot, like the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, when you go up there, you see, oh, that's the Atlantic and that's the Pacific. There seems like you can see that line there, clear. This water is different, this water is different. They don't mix. So this is the Pacific and this is the Atlantic, fine, okay. But in this world, reality and illusion has been blended so finely. You take illusion and you think it's a reality. And then, or you take reality and then you find it's real. No, it's an illusion. There you're caught. So as you keep on stepping out, you identify not with things which can be kind of objectified. The intellect, in the ultimate analysis, also is an objective entity. So what's the subject of this? The subject is consciousness. So this person is established in Brahman. We will keep these two verses for today, because the 21st verse, or we could just read it, because one of those great verses, I remember we were very young, and that is, we had already become monastics, and Swami Ranganathananda, he was invited to speak to us about essentials of spiritual life. And I still remember him quoting this word, Bhaya sparshe swasaktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. That's a beautiful verse. With one's heart unattached to external objects, one gets the bliss that is in the self. With one's heart absorbed in meditation on Brahman, one acquires undecaying bliss. Everybody wants happiness, peace, love, peace, love, happiness, God, all these things, they have become so cliched now. So, peace, love, happiness, joy, wellness, goodness, cliched. So this is, the verse speaks about how to get undecaying happiness. Okay, we will take this up next Thursday, and if you have some questions, we can. No questions, Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.